What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. I say that just so that you know straight out of the gate. In today's video, I am going to be slightly biased, as I always am. So if you're looking for pure objectivity, this is not the video for you. Jog on. However, I'm going to try and do this as objectively as possible in analysing which player I think should be Premier League's player of the season. There is clearly one front runner here, but I have to say I was slightly surprised by the list. And so what I've done is I've statistically analysed this in a section I'm calling Stats Entertainment, because I bloody love a pun, me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to try and make as good a case for each one as I possibly can, including Spurs and ex-Spurs players on this list. Now, first of all, let's just go through the list for you. You may be unaware of who has been nominated. First of all, Bukayo Saka, then Kevin De Bruyne, Martin Odegaard, Kieran Trippier, Marcus Rashford, Erling Haaland, Harry Kane. They are your 7 that you get to pick from. One of those will win 2023's coveted Premier League Player of the Season. In fact, if Kevin De Bruyne achieves that, he will become the first player to win it 3 times. So we should, I think, start with Kevin De Bruyne. Now, he's played 30 games this season, has scored 7 goals, 16 assists. The kind of metrics I'm looking at here, by the way, are passes per match, of which he has 44. Big chances created, which are 31. Then I'm looking at some defensive work, which is tackles, 26 tackles, 21 blocked shots, 9 interceptions. A good season all round for Kevin De Bruyne. What's really fascinating is when you look at his stats is how it's flipped from him scoring more goals last season to basically creating more chances this season. He is, for my money, one of the greatest midfielders in the world. And quite arguably, at some point, I think he does deserve to become the first player to achieve 3 Premier League Player of the Seasons. But this season, I don't really see it on just those numbers. We're going to go through all of the numbers. You can make your own comparison. Let's start with the first Arsenal player and have a look at him. Bukayo Saka. Miss strap of lad at only 21. He's 10 years a junior of Kevin De Bruyne. But he's scored 13 goals this season and 11 assists. So his total goal contribution, goals and assists, is 24, which is one better than Kevin De Bruyne. His passes per match is 32 as compared to Kevin's 44. Big chances created, miles away from the 31 that De Bruyne has with only 8. But this surprised me a great deal. He has 60 tackles this season, which is not bad given where he plays, but shows the kind of work rate he's putting in and the kind of work rate that is expected from Mikel Arteta. Very much reminds me of the work rate that David Rocastle was asked to do by George Graham. More similarities all the time. But in terms of blocked shots, he is also ahead of Kevin De Bruyne with 29 to De Bruyne's 21. And interceptions, and again, Saka does not really play in a position where you'd expect interceptions, but he has 14. So in a close matchup between those two players, it's hard to see where you would give it to Kevin De Bruyne, except that obviously he has that kind of leadership and he marshals the team a little bit better and he's putting a lot of chances on a plate for people who clearly aren't taking them. I think you'd have to give it to Bukayo Saka there, particularly when you think that he's played 36 games and De Bruyne has only played 30, which of course means 2 things. It means, one, that the contribution per game is slightly better from De Bruyne, but Saka's been available for all but 2 of the games this season, which is all of them, right? Which is huge, I think, and possibly, and we're going to talk about this in the close season a lot more, maybe part of the reason that he's looking so tired and jaded now. However, that's a question for another day. The next one for me, well, look, I'm going to come out and say it. I'm not a tactical expert. I'm not a football coach. I'm not really an insider. I just don't get the fuss about Marcus Rashford. Let's have a look. He has 16 goals to his name, so the most so far, and 5 assists. So 21 goal contributions, which is clearly behind the 24 and the 23 of Bukayo Saka and Kevin De Bruyne, respectively. Passes per game, 22. So third on the list here. Big chances created, Marcus Rashford, 5. Tackles 19. You know, when you compare that with Saka's 60, you do kind of wonder what he's doing. Now, he has only played 33 games this season. Blocked shots 24, more than De Bruyne, fewer than Bukayo Saka. Interceptions 7. What's he doing on this list? Man United fans are always telling me how great Marcus Rashford is and always trying to compare him to Bukayo Saka. Great. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. As Arsene Wenger famously said once, everybody thinks they have the most beautiful wife at home. I'm not against that. However, come on, look at objectively looking at the statistics. Man United are not having a great league season, and this is League Player of the Year, so I can't include winning League Cups and things like that. How is Marcus Rashford on a list with just Bukayo Saka and Kevin De Bruyne so far? It really doesn't make any sense to me. On this, he has had 21 goal contributions and created 5 big chances that weren't taken. He doesn't tackle back. He's not blocking shots. I just don't see the fuss. I thought he scored a fantastic goal against us, and then Bukayo Saka scored a slightly better one. In every conceivable way that I could compare these two players, I would have Bukayo Saka all day. Please, if you're a Man United fan watching this, what am I missing? Every time I watch Rashford, I'm bored. Anyway, that's enough of going in on Marcus Rashford. There are a couple of even stranger ones on it. Well, at least one stranger one on here for me. And the next one on the list is Kieran Trippier. I think they've got to throw defenders in there, haven't they? They've got to chuck somebody in there that's a little bit, you know, Newcastle having a fantastic season. Kieran Trippier is doing a really great job. Obviously, it's silly to measure him in goal contributions. He has scored a goal this season. He has created 6 assists. His pass per match is 52, which is the best of the players I've read out so far. In fact, actually, it's the best of all the players on here. So he has the most passes in a game. He's created 22 big chances, which is pretty decent, and has put in 68 tackles in a game, which you would expect from a defender. But it's not that many more than Bukayo Saka. And his blocked shots is only 8. But his interceptions are huge, 41 interceptions. So game reading, and look, you have to give Kieran Trippier and all the players at Newcastle a huge amount of respect for the clean sheets and the way they've defended this season. It has been almost George Graham-esque, and I think they are certainly building a team up there. Makes our win up there even more stunning and surprising, particularly given how we folded to Brighton. Anyway. But Kieran Trippier is on here surely just to make up the numbers. No one is going to make Kieran Trippier the Premier League's player of the season for 2023. Newcastle may not even secure top 4 finish. I mean, they think they will. But yeah, come on. Kieran Trippier versus Bukayo Saka, that's surely not realistic. Kevin De Bruyne, no. Then I want to go to Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard, what a player. What a season. What a captain. Let's just give it to him. No, look, seriously, Martin Odegaard has 22 goal contributions, comes with 15 goals and 7 assists, 44 passes per match. It's the same as Kevin De Bruyne. There are so many similarities. In fact, if you flip goals and assists around, they're really close together. He has tackled considerably more than Kevin De Bruyne, but Kevin De Bruyne is not really tackling a lot with 39 tackles. He's created 14 big chances, blocked shots 32, so miles ahead of anyone I've read on this list so far. 6 interceptions. A really great season for Martin Odegaard. A captain's season, no doubt. You know, he has had a captain's season, no doubt, but you know, even I, as much as I love him, I'm not putting his figures up there and expecting him to win Premier League Player of the Season, given that his goal contribution is lower and the big chances less tackles. I mean, Bukayo Saka still stands out here. I think one of the things about this is that as we get to the end of the season, there's more tendency to remember the more recent games, and Bukayo Saka's not been playing that well. But look, the statistics are what I'm focusing on here. Stats Entertainment. And on that, you'd have to say Martin Odegaard is a little bit behind Bukayo Saka. Now, this one annoys me. I'm really sorry. And look, the stats aren't terrible. But Harry Kane. What is everybody's obsession with him? All right, so, okay, look, I'm going to front out. He's scored 27 goals. Well done, Harry. 27 goals that had he not scored... In fact, look, I'm going to have to take my Spurs hating hat off here a little bit. Yeah, I get it. Like 27. If you actually look at the number of points that Tottenham have, that they only have because of goals Harry Kane scored, I think it's something like 32 points. Without Harry Kane, it's arguable that Spurs would be relegated and would finally get to play in the kind of company that they should be playing with, given how well they play. But Harry Kane has scored 27 goals this season. Great season. Not arguing that. Only 3 assists. Only 21 passes per match, 13 big chances created, tackles 15. You don't expect him to be tackling. Statistically interesting, 30 blocked shots. So maybe he needs. Yeah, maybe it's just reflective of how Tottenham are playing, badly. But Harry Kane is on this list. Presumably, in all the metrics we're looking at, he's behind everybody else, except for the last person I've yet to mention, and you all know who's coming. But Harry Kane's goal contributions is 30. So, yeah, look, arguably on just that, if the next player on this list didn't exist, I could understand it. But if the only reason you're on here is goal contributions and everything is a bit meagre, Erling Haaland, beast mode. A man, well, is he a man? He is exactly what you would create if you were inventing a footballer for a computer game. He's massive, and he's like a Labrador, a huge Labrador on speed, hunting down goal, just wants to score. I mean, I'm glad he doesn't play for Arsenal. It would almost certainly change the way we play. I thought he was a little bit out of his depth at times in the season, but for most of the season, let's be honest, we're discussing who's going to be Premier League Player of the Season. It's going to be Erling Haaland. Since I started this channel at the end of January, we've all known it was going to be Erling Haaland. Here are his statistics so far. 36 Premier League goals. Right? 36 Premier League goals. Compare that to Harry Kane's 27. Which would you rather have? No? Right. 7 assists. I don't remember him assisting at all, but he has 43 goal contributions. He barely passes in matches with 13.8 passes per match, but I'm pretty sure that's a Pep Guardiola instruction. Have the ball. He's created 13 big chances though. He's created 10 big chances though, which is about the same as Harry Kane's 13. No tackles. I mean, it's 3 tackles. So, yeah, not a great season for tackles for him. Blocked shots. He has got in the way of shots 16 times, and he has intercepted the ball 3 times. 43 goal contribution, breaking every record under the sun. The season's not over yet. Is there any case to be made for any of the other players? I would dearly love to see Bukayo Saka made Player of the Season. I think he has been, but his fatigue at the end of the season has dropped off and he has been more peripheral. I think he should have been rotated more. Hopefully in the close season we're going to be signing someone we can at least throw on. And maybe Arteta's changed his ways a little bit. Again, that's a sidetrack. But the 7 players nominated, how do you do anything but give it to Erling Haaland? What are the odds that you would give me right now on it not being Erling Haaland? And if it isn't, is it going to be Kieran Trippier? Nah. I did an interesting statistical matchup, though, because I was annoyed about Kieran Trippier and I was annoyed about Marcus Rashford. I kind of get that Tottenham, need a little bit of a fill-up, so they've put in Harry Kane and he's England's number 1 and here's a great season for breaking records, blah, blah, blah. But I would be livid if he wins this. It just suddenly occurred to me that he might win it because he's broken those records. But leaving all that to one side, I was really interested because I thought if Trippier's on here, then surely Zinchenko gets a shout. I mean, now, after all, he's been a defender. I know he's listed as a midfielder, but he's been defending and he has been a defender. He's only scored 1 goal, like Kieran Trippier. He only has 2 assists, unlike Kieran Trippier's 6. His passes per game is the best on here of all the players, and I'm discussing. Obviously, Kieran Trippier was the best of all the actually nominated, but Zinchenko is ahead of him, 63 passes per match. He's created 2 big chances, 40 tackles, which does come quite a bit further behind than Kieran Trippier. And it's not a strength of his game, let's be honest. And 8 blocked shots is the same as Kieran Trippier's. So having done the analysis, and to show that I'm not entirely Arsenal, although I pretty much am. I can understand why Trippier's in here instead of Zinchenko. But Marcus Rashford versus Martinelli, I want some clarification on, because Marcus Rashford, 21 goal contributions, Martinelli, 20. Martinelli with 27 passes a game to Marcus Rashford's 22. Big chances created, Martinelli 11, Marcus Rashford 5. Tackles, Martinelli 31, Marcus Rashford 19. Blocked shots, Marcus Rashford and Martinelli have the same number. Where are the figures here that Martinelli's not as good as Rashford? They're almost identical in every area except that Rashford has made one more goal. Although less than half of the big chances created. I don't understand this. I think take Rashford out of it. As I said earlier in the video, Man United fans, you love boring me to tears with how great Marcus Rashford is. It's like the Emperor's new clothes. Every time I watch him, I wonder what you're all on about. But the statistics are kind of saying the same thing. Surely take him out of here and put Martinelli in. But to close the video, I also want to say, look, you could have the entire Arsenal squad in here and put Erling Haaland in. Erling Haaland is going to win Player of the Season. I kind of hope I'm wrong, but actually, for the sanity of the world, if a player comes in and scores the goals Haaland has, which no one's ever done before, you have to acknowledge that. You have to say he is one hell of a striker. I hope that you disagree with me on some level, because that's when I get the most comments. But otherwise, let me know what you think. I absolutely love your comments at the moment. And there'll be another video tomorrow. Until then, be lucky and lots of love.